And so let's get started. Good evening, everybody. Welcome to tonight's Town Council meeting for December 14th at 7 o'clock. And Madam Clerk, would you call the roll, please?
Tom Lombardi,
I'm here.
James Morelli. Jim here? Jim?
Yeah, I'm here.
Christopher Palmieri,
Here.
Christopher Poulos, Paul Chaplinsky, Michael Del Santo,
Present.
Valerie DiPaolo. Here. William Diedick. Victoria Triano.
I'm here. Thank you all for joining us this evening. We're going to stand for the prayer. We're also going to have a moment of silence for somebody who was very well known to the council. It was chuckle about it. He was at more meetings than I've attended in the many years I've been on. So Elio Fusillo, we lost Elio Fusillo back in late November, and we just want to have a moment of silence. So Madam Clerk, you would lead us in the prayer, and then we'll follow it by a moment of silence in honor of Elio.
Father, may we consider Southington and always render what is right and just for our citizens. Help us to be compassionate while still seeking what is appropriate for the entire community. Give us wisdom and guidance. Amen.
Amen. Let's have a moment of silence for Elio. Thank you very much. While we're standing, could we please have the flag salute, please? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you, everyone. If you could just take a seat. I'm looking for a motion to approve the minutes from the last meeting.
I'll make a motion to approve.
Thank you.
Second.
And
Madam
Tom
Chair.
Lombardi seconding it. Thank you. Any deletions, additions, anything at all? Hearing none, I'll move the motion. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions? Motion carries unanimously. Councilperson's communication. Our very first order of the evening is to recognize our 2021 Kid Governor, our own Reese Naughton. Chris Poulos, do you have the copy of the proclamation that was given for Reese?
I do. It will take me a second to get it. Would you like me to bring it up?
I would like you to bring it up. I'd like to read it right into the record. We all received a copy of it, but I would like very much to read it into the record if you could grab it.
Yep.
In the meantime, Reese, we want to just acknowledge your tremendous accomplishment in town. We're going to ask you to share a little bit of your platform with us, but we do have a very honored guest with us, Lieutenant Governor Sue Bysiewicz. And Lieutenant Governor, would you like to just open up and share some thoughts?
Absolutely. Thank you so much for having me to congratulate the Kid Governor-elect, Reese Naughton. And Reese, as you know, is a fifth grader at Oshana Elementary School. And Reese ran on a platform, not just in Southington, but across the state of Connecticut, where fifth graders across the whole of Connecticut had the opportunity to cast their vote for governor. And Reese's platform, which is so perfect and important and critical at this moment, was pandemic preparedness and mental health, and helping the elderly and making sure that we support all of our peers during the pandemic. And she had a number of really great ideas as part of her platform. And Reese, I will tell you that you will be the 6th Kid Governor that will get sworn in to office at our old state house in Hartford in January. And I have to say that one of the most exciting things that Governor Lamont and I had the opportunity to do right after we took our oath of office as governor and lieutenant governor was to go to the old state house in 2019 and see a kid governor sworn in. And it's a really big deal. And I'm going to be very curious to see in this post-pandemic world that we are in, how this swearing in is going to take place. But I've been to two of these inauguration ceremonies for our kid governors. And when I've had the opportunity to do that, all of the state's constitutional officers, so the governor, lieutenant governor, secretary of the state, treasurer, attorney general, and congresspeople have had the opportunity to attend and wish the new governor well and wish her cabinet well. Now, I would stress her cabinet because each of the 6 kid governors that have been elected thus far, including yourself, have all been girls. So I know our governors, Ella Grasso and Jody Rell, would be. Ella Grasso passed in the early 1980s, but I know she's looking down smiling, and I know that our governor Jody Rell from Brookfield is also smiling on this day as you are getting prepared to be sworn into office. And the governor and I love your program of helping to make sure that there are community crates with PPE available in various parts of towns and cities so that if people need masks or hand sanitizer, they will have it. And I also, on this day where we are celebrating and remembering, sadly, the anniversary of the Sandy Hook tragedy, I love your focus on mental health and helping people who have mental health issues get support and reducing the stigma of mental health issues, because during this pandemic, there's a lot of stress on families across the state. And we're going to be needing to continue to reach out to one another to make sure we have the help and support that we all need. And that's why I know that with your help and your leadership, that we are all going to get through this pandemic together. So, Reese, it's such an honor to congratulate you. And the governor and I and the rest of the constitutional officers can't wait to see you sworn in. And I'll say this one last thing. I had the pleasure, about a month or so ago, of hosting a discussion panel with the past 5 female kid governors. And it was a very impressive group. And I have no doubt that you're going to distinguish yourself during your year in office. So I wish you well. And when the Capitol's open again to the public, I want to let you know that I'm looking forward to having you come and visit my office and visit all of us at the state capitol. And I wish you every success and congratulations to everyone on the Southington Town Council. Clearly, you are raising and nurturing future leaders. So congratulations to all of the town council members. Well done.
Lieutenant Governor, we are so pleased that you have joined us tonight. We couldn't have done it without Chris Palmeri did the actual arranging, and we just appreciate that so much, Chris. Thank you for your effort in that. Thank you. I know your schedule is very tight, so when you have to leave, just exit, and we understand. We just are so appreciative of having you here tonight. Thank you so much. Right now, what I'd like to do, Reese, I'm going to have Councilman Poulos read the proclamation that you received at Zeoshana School last week, and then I'm going to turn it over to you. Okay, Zeo, if you would,
Okay.
please.
Okay, thank you, Madam Chair. Hello again, Reese, Principal Regala, Brown from the Board of Education. Thank you for being with us tonight. The Town Council official proclamation. Be it hereby known to all that the Southington Town Council offers its sincerest congratulations to Reese Naughton in recognition of her election by fifth graders from across the state as Connecticut's 2021 Kid Governor. The Southington Town Council honors Reese Naughton. After a competitive statewide campaign to represent Connecticut students, which included the development of a platform advocating for pandemic health, we celebrate Reese's accomplishment and support her as she advocates for her 3-point plan of action to help improve mental health in our communities and promote safety during the ongoing COVID-19 pandemic. Be it resolved, December 3rd, 2020, whereas Reese Naughton, a fifth grader at Oceana Elementary School in Plantsville, has demonstrated a deep knowledge of civics and exemplary research, communication, and advocacy skills during her campaign for Connecticut Kid Governor. And whereas she has developed a platform that aligns with and supports the Southington Public Schools' ongoing social and emotional learning initiative. And whereas she has been elected by her peers to represent students across the state as the 2021 Kid Governor. And whereas her election will receive statewide attention as she serves as a student spokesperson for public education following her inauguration in January 2021. And whereas she has brought great honor to her family, her school, her community, and her state. Now, therefore, be it resolved that the Southington Town Council honors Reese Naughton with great admiration for her accomplishment and efforts to bring pandemic health awareness to the forefront at Oceana Elementary School within the town of Southington and across the great state of Connecticut. Signed, Victoria Triano, Chairwoman, Christopher Poulos, Councilman.
Thank you, Chris, very, very much. Very good. Well, Reese, we've been hearing a lot about you. Now we want to hear from you. And please share with us. We're very excited as we begin to walk in this new role in January. And of course, we are all here for you in Southington. We're proud of you, but we're also a resource for you if you need anything. So please, Reese, talk a little bit about yourself and then let us hear your platform from your mouth.
Okay. Thank you. So I really want to say thank you for going out of your way to congratulate me like this. And this really means so much to me. This proclamation means so much to me. And I just wanted to say that I'm so grateful, and I hope to make you and the town council and the town of Southington proud with my efforts.
You already have. So tell us a little bit about the platform, Reese.
Yes, so one of my 3 steps on my plan that I'm excited about is making fundraising to get items to create care packages for the elderly in nursing homes around, because the nursing homes have been closed since COVID started, which has been since March, and they haven't gotten to see their families at all this year. So that is one of the 3 steps of my platform that I'm excited to get to work on.
That's wonderful. I know it means a great deal. I'm a director of pastoral care at one of the nursing homes in town, and it's very close to my heart because our residents are so important to all of us. Thank you so much. I just want to open it up to council members. Is there anything else that you would like to ask on the record from Reese? And then we can move along. Reese, thank you for being with us. It's an honor to have you here today. Anybody from the council?
Madam Chair?
Yes. Oh, Val, please.
Thank you so much. Reese, I was at the school when you received your proclamation, and was able to talk with you briefly. So I just want to congratulate you again. It's great to see you're following in a line of all females, which is awesome. So really, I think you're going to step up and do a really great job. If you need anything, please feel free to reach out to us. We really want to help you with this platform, and the platform is excellent. So
Thank you. I'm so
congrats again.
Very good. Any other council people? Maurice, I'm sorry. Was that Chris? I got you, Chris. Go ahead.
Okay. I just also want to introduce Ms. Brown from the Board of Education and Josie Regalo, the principal, but Sandy Chavez, who's our 5th grade teacher, is also here. So Sandy, I want to thank you for your guidance and inspiration. I know, Reese, you acknowledged Ms. Chavez. I read the nice article in the paper as well. So thank you, Sandy, for everything you're doing. Reese, it's a pleasure to see you again. It's great to see so many people coming out for you. We had Commissioner Cardona come out. Thank you, Mr. Poulos, for arranging that, to see you at the school, and now you had the Lieutenant Governor here at the Town Council meeting. So we're all standing behind you. As Councilwoman DePaulo said, please let us know if we can do anything for you, and thank you for making a difference in our own community as well as the state.
Of course. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Reese. And we understand you're quite busy. If you need to leave, you can. But I think Mike,
yeah, Madam Chair, just a quick note. Just want to congratulate Reese. And Reese, without a doubt, Southington is the best community in the state of Connecticut. We are very proud to have you represent us as the kid governor. You have great things ahead for you. Congratulations, and represent Southington well. I know you will. Great job.
Thank you, everybody. Let's give her a round of applause one more time. Thank you, Reese, and good luck to you.
Thank
All
you.
right, let's move on, members of the council, if we can. We are under council-matic communication. I have a couple of things, but I think I'm going to wait. I'm going to let others speak first on council-matic communications. So, council, do you have? I see Paul Chaplinsky. Go ahead, Paul. Paul, you're
Muted,
you're
Paul.
You're muted.
How is this?
Much better.
Good.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I have 3 items, and I'll be brief. The first item is a quick shout out for the continued efforts of our first responders in town, and especially the last couple of weeks, our fire department has had some active calls with some structure fires. So a big thank you to the fire department for continuing to keep our community safe. I wanted to acknowledge the team. I was asked to do some volunteer work at the for the White Christmas Holiday Stroll. Don Maselli and team had done some great work to get some donations and some items donated for the holiday lightings that are there, trees and other items that are down near the center of Southington and the center of Plantsville. And I wanted to acknowledge Dawn for her hard work, as well as Mike Fasulo, Dave Sony, Bob Tonin, and special shout out to James Karstang, who gave the new moose for this year, the lighted moose. So it was a nice addition to the lighted pieces that we have for everybody to enjoy. Also, Kathy Reinhardt for loaning us the Christmas sleigh that's out there. That's currently hosting Frosty, but I think we have some Christmas presents also that will be out there. And also a special shout out to Unico and Zingarella's and Smoking with Chris, who allowed us to plug into their facilities and use their electricity during the holiday season. And then the last item, Mrs. Chair, is let's see, Madam Chair, December 22nd, we are going to have a small flag raising ceremony. We have a new person in the Army who has just completed basic training. Megan Danko is going to be leading us in a small flag raising ceremony at the town hall to acknowledge all of our servicemen and women who could not be home for the holidays. So just wanted to give a shout out for that as well. And I'll give you an update in the new year once we get around to having that on the 22nd.
Thank you so much, Paul. Who else has something? I'm looking. Oh, Chris Palmieri.
Thank you. I had the pleasure, Mr. Brown, to attend the last Board of Education meeting, and it was great. Just to share here again, officially the girls cross country team, the girls swim team, swim and dive team, and the girls soccer team were officially recognized by the Board of Education for state titles for this year. So that was a great celebration. And it just seems there's girl power tonight, Madam Chair. So,
I think so.
it's great to hear so much recognition, and just wanted to share that good news with everyone here.
Very good. Thank you, Chris.
You're
Who
welcome.
else, council who have something? Oh, yes, Jim Morelli. Jim, go ahead.
Thank you, Madam Chair.
There you go.
I just wanted to say that I had the pleasure on December 8th of watching a Facebook Live presentation that was sponsored by the Southington Public Library. It was coordinated by Liz Schubert, which I'd like to say a great thank you to Liz. She's the adult program director there, and she does a lot for the handicapped people in Southington, not just them, but the residents of ARC get a lot of attention from the library through Liz, and we really appreciate that. The event was Rockin' Christmas. It's the second annual, and it was put on by John Ingrazia, who's a professional musician, retired, who lives in Cheshire. And what he does is he gives lessons and sponsors jams, and he coaches also young musicians that are headed to college and school for music, and he gets them paired up with these underprivileged, with these special needs people. And they sing and they make music and they play instruments and they have a really great time. And again, I wanted to thank John for putting that on. It was a Zoom concert. It was a little bit difficult at times. And actually his reach is not just in Southington, his reach is actually national. There were people on there from Oregon, New Orleans, Detroit. And so again, I think what he does is commendable. If anybody has old instruments that they don't use and they want to get rid of, you can either drop them off at the ARC in Plantsville or let me know, I'll come pick them up. But we've been gathering lots of instruments and they've been getting placed and used. So that was my update for the month. Thank you.
Thank you, Jim. I appreciate that. Any other councilmen have anything they need to share? Yes, Val, go ahead.
Madam Chair, thank you. Just to follow up with Jim, some good news for the Southington Public Library. The Main Street Community Foundation, with the recommendation of the Barnes Advisory Committee, approved a grant to the Friends of the Library of $7,000, and it's going to be used for people that do not have internet, or people that may need Chromebooks. And they'll be able to purchase Chromebooks, purchase hotspots, and there'll be a lending period of maybe 1 to 3 weeks. So people will be able to go on, residents will be able to go on, and if they're looking for jobs, filling out applications, if they have telemedicine appointments that they could do, they could schedule them for maybe those 1 to 2 weeks that they have the Chromebooks and the hotspots. So it's just a nice, really nice grant. The Barnes Trust Advisory Committee, they're thinking outside the box a little bit. And I thought it was great that they thought of the library and they can funnel that through the Friends group. So good news for
Really good. Yeah.
residents, of Southern might need that technology.
Very good. Thank you. I want to, at this point in time, we also have some esteemed guests here. Not that anybody is not esteemed, but we have members of the Rotary here this evening. As most all of you know, that the Rotary has partnered with Southington to put that beautiful playscape in at Memorial Park. And they are here tonight graciously to present. Bob Brown is the president of Rotary. Bob, if you can unmute yourself, please. And just give us a little bit of an overview, and I believe you have a check that you're going to present to us. Bob, you need to unmute. You need to unmute yourself. Paul.
Hi, Madam Chair. It looks like Bob's having a problem. He's on Gloria's account right now. Looks like. See if I can find that. How is
I see
this,
you're
Bob?
here,
Try
Bob.
that now, Bob.
Are you there, Bob?
There you go.
I think yes.
Yes,
Thank
there
you. Yeah, my
Good.
computer wouldn't let the camera work, so I'm on my wife. So I thought I'd have her name because it's Women's Night. No, it's just a joke. My name is Bob Brown, which I guess you've already said. I live at 587 Bird Street in Plantsville. I'm here tonight as both a Board of Ed member, but also as the Rotary President. Several years ago, Don Maselli approached the Rotary Club asking for support of funding a playscape at the Memorial Park. And we agreed to do that. It's over $100,000 we have raised and donated. I want to thank Dawn, first of all, for her coordination with that effort. Also, would like to thank some of the Rotarians. Kate Terciano and Fred Courager were former presidents who worked on this. And Joanne Alfieri also has been instrumental in this whole effort. And I'd like to thank all the Rotarians for their efforts in raising well over $100,000 over the last 3 years in making this donation. The playscape is almost done. I know there are kids playing on it now, which is awesome. We will have a live in-person dedication sometime next year when it's safer. And I'd like to tonight present you with, and I'm in this format, it's going to be kind of weird, but a check for $25,000. I will hold it up for you in a minute, and then I'm going to ask maybe Mark Schroeder or somebody who to mail it to. But let's show you the check.
There it is.
Hold it up higher. Higher.
Nice. You're gonna need a big envelope, Mr. Brown.
I know the check is like 4 feet long, so the postage may be a bit prohibitive, but maybe we can go for a car ride. Anyway, was that frontwards or was it backwards?
Oh, you were fine.
Okay, we worked on that for a while today too. So I'd like to thank you all for everything you do and wish you a happy holiday. And again, thank the Rotarians for all these efforts. This was the effort of lots of people. I see Trish has joined us, and I think we have some other people I can't see. So, and my wife Gloria is right next to me doing the technology.
Oh, that's great. Well, thank you, all
Yep.
Rotarians, and I of course have a special spot in my heart for all of you.
Yes.
But thank you very much.
And we for you, Vicki.
Thank you, and we'll be sure just send it to Mark Schoda's office on Main Street, and so he welcomes you. So
75 Main Street, Bob. 75 Main Street.
75 Main Street. You got it.
It'll be in the mail tomorrow.
The big envelope you'll need.
Thank you for,
I'll put it on my Camaro. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Yep.
Moving right along, Paul mentioned
We can
the Bike
continue.
Resistance
I don't know.
community that is going on right now on the Lydia Trail, and so I want to make sure that we promote that. And I have one other thing. Does anybody else have anything else? Mark, you want to talk during now?
Just briefly, because Paul brought it up and then you just brought it up. I believe that certainly from my standpoint, I want to thank Bill Hansen and his staff at Public Works, who worked very hard on the town green, the green at Plantsville Center, and worked very, very hard on the walk on the trail. So I want to say congratulations to Bill and his staff at Public Works. They did an excellent job like they always do. And they did all the heavy lifting over at the walk. So I think that thank you, Bill, publicly, and obviously I thank him privately, but thank him publicly. Anybody who walks by or drives by our greens will see the hard work of his and his staff. Thanks.
Thank you so much. That's well said. Thank you. Just closing down Council Matter Communications, we received a letter from Morgan Morgan McNamara, and who was very moved because of the COVID deaths and folks that are suffering with COVID here in Southington. And she sent it to the council. and she with a suggestion that on December 22nd, which is a Tuesday before Christmas, that there would be a luminary display throughout the town, that we as individuals would stand in solidarity together, that we would light a candle in a paper bag of some sort or a luminary of some sort and place it at the end of our driveways all over town. I want to just read her little explanation. She writes this holiday season can be especially difficult during the time of a pandemic. I wanted to find a way for all of us to come together in a safe way to honor all individuals affected by the COVID-19 virus, whether it be those who have lost their battle with the virus and are spending holidays in the hospital, or want to show their support. Let's all come together during this challenging time that has affected so many. Please spread the word. And she goes on to talk about the link, and it's Tuesday, December 22nd, and it will happen just as it's getting dark, and the luminaries hopefully will be lit all over town. I know Val responded to her. I responded to her, but I felt that she's a young woman who just feels very, very in her heart that she would like us to come together. So I say that to December 22nd in the evening, and it's a Tuesday, and you can check it out on Facebook, and also in our minutes, I'll bring this to Kathy that we can just put the actual flyer in the minutes. Thank you, everybody. Okay, thank you, everybody. We had a lot of communication this week, I guess. Let's go on. Let's go to special committees right now. Public Works, Mike, would you please bring us up to snuff, as they say, with what's going on?
Thank you, Madam Chair. A couple of items. We had our meeting a couple of weeks ago. With regards to the trail, obviously the town knows, the council knows there was some vandalism done on the town trail a couple of weeks ago. And we had a point of discussion at our Public Works meeting, and we all thought it was important to at least look into the idea of possibly lighting a large portion or the whole trail if we can, and or possibly putting in some cameras as well so we can detect if there's some stuff going on the trail either day or night. So after a discussion, it was determined, I spoke with Mr. Shota, and we felt it necessary to maybe have a work group under the Public Works Committee that is going to convene with a couple of members and with town staff, and we're going to come back and report back to the town council what our findings are. Mr. Shota is on top of it, town staff is on top of it, so hopefully at our next meeting I can come back and report that we're on our way to procuring some sort of safety protocols for the town trail, because it's just that important. A lot of people put a lot of sweat and effort into making some very nice murals on the trail, and it's not fair to them or to the town of Southington that vandalism occurs. So we're hoping that maybe some illumination and some cameras would prohibit some of these activities from occurring. So more to report on that at our next meeting.
Mike, I want to just mention Mary DeCroce from the Arts Center. She went out and she was able to get the original artist, who is internationally known, and he was able to come and fix it. But we want to make sure that we don't have that problem again. So I want to just thank her for coming out.
All right, Madam Chair, that's the crux of this. We care about the safety of our residents, but more importantly, this has to stop. Vandalism is just not appropriate, and we're hoping that with some, like I said, with some lights and possibly some cameras, we can catch some of these culprits or prevent it from occurring. The police station roof is 90% complete. We did look into it, and there is a 25-year warranty on the roofing company. The company was BMP Construction, and they're just about done. So that should take care of the leaking problem at the police station. At the time of the meeting on 12/2, leaves were 90% done. I believe we're just about done with leaves in good time, because I think we're going to be getting some snow. So we're going to turn picking up leaves to picking up snow in the next couple of days. So that's good. The tree lighting, as Mr. Shota just presented, is done. All of our town greens and centers look wonderful. Kudos again to Ms. Maselli for the hard work she does along the trail. There's nothing better than driving through downtown Southington during Christmas time and seeing the beautiful town green. I love it. Looks fantastic. So kudos to the Public Works, to the Highway Department, for the Public Works Department for the work that they did on that. The tennis courts, it was determined that there were some cracks, even though they were just redone this past summer. So the company is standing behind their work, and they're going to come out next spring and do the repairs under warranty. And they're also going to do some stuff to make sure that this doesn't happen. Well aware of the problem, and they're standing behind their work, and they're going to come out and fix that this spring. As I promised last meeting, I would give an update on the Spring Street turning lane. That's well underway. Our town staff has been working on cleaning out culverts and getting things prepared. We are fingers crossed. Hopefully in the spring, once again, we're being held back by the DOT. So, we're hopefully in the next couple of meetings, we'll have more information to know that turning lane on Spring Street will eventually be done. And during our last meeting, we came up with our 2021 schedule for our meetings, which was approved, and it's usually the first Wednesday of each month. And we also came up with the schedule for the 2021 transfer station schedule. We had decided, and town staff decided, that going forward, we're going to remain open one additional Saturday in November, because there were some long lines this past November. Unfortunately, one of those Saturdays in November is the Saturday after Thanksgiving, so that's a holiday, so we can't open that day. But there will be one additional day open on Saturdays. And then from December until April is when, March is when the every other week schedule will occur. Any questions from anyone? Chris, Paul, did I miss anything?
I do, Madam Chair.
Yes, go ahead, Tom.
Thank you, Councilman Del Santo. I just wanted to, give my opinion to the council. I spoke with the town manager last week. I think it's a great idea that the Public Works group is looking into the trail issue. I think, it's been kind of pushed off for several years, but I think it's a great long-term goal to get some power there, possibly some cameras, and just set the infrastructure up. My comment on this whole thing is, I think it would be best if the town manager reaches out to other towns, Cheshire, Plainville, Farmington, whoever else, and let's make this a multi-town effort. Let's try to get the trail to look. Let's get the trail to look consistent. We can also get some benefits and pricing and everything else. So, the town manager said that shouldn't be a problem, and I think that's the way to go with this. So, Mike, I thank you for that, and not just from a safety reason. Obviously, safety is always on the forefront for all of us, but there are several other benefits to doing this. For example, the holiday events down there in Plantsville and on the town green and in the downtown area. Similar to the apple harvest, the apple harvest makes capital improvements to the town green that get used throughout the year. So again, thank you guys for pushing this. That's all I had for Public Works. So thank you guys.
Thank you. Anybody else?
Thank you, Madam Chair. Thank you, everyone.
Madam Chair, if I could ask one question if you don't mind.
Sure, of course. Go ahead, Bill.
So this is Bill. So Mike, I don't remember. So is it true that it was the Sandy Hook Memorial that was actually vandalized?
It was, it was, Bill. The butterfly with the butterflies. It's just sad. So apparently the person that did it showed some remorse, and they were helpful in getting it repaired. So.
But we can't confirm that was the memorial, or that was one of the items that was vandalized.
Yes,
it was, Bill.
Thank you.
Yeah, but I do want to say, Bill, it wasn't purposeful. It was just vandalism. Do you know what I'm saying? It wasn't a statement against Sandy Hook. My understanding, it was just, vandalism. It was just people doing graffiti. So anyway, yeah. Okay. Let's move on. Apple Harvest Advisory Committee. Tom?
Yes, thank you, Madam Chair. Myself and Councilman Palmieri, we met last week. Actually, the town manager was also in the meeting last week on Wednesday for a brief meeting on the Apple Harvest group. There was basically two things to report back to the council. The first is the exciting news. We did set the dates for the 52nd annual Apple Harvest. it will be October 1st, 2nd, and 3rd. That'll be the first weekend. And October 8th, 9th, and 10th will be the second weekend. And then we also had some contract discussions, which Councilman Palmieri, would you like to update the council on that?
Sure. So just to fill the council in, and we don't really need action. We talked about moving the contract for Dave Lepre and Julia Berardinelli, and rolling that over to the 21 festival, seeing as the 20 festival was canceled. So that one we did no problem. If you recall, Dave and Julia both did receive compensation up until the point when the festival itself was canceled. Okay. The only other employee that the festival has is our sponsorship coordinator. So that's Melissa Erickson. So she had done work leading up to the 2020 festival to try to garner sponsors. And obviously we didn't end up having the 2020 festival. So we did not compensate Melissa for anything. So she has not been compensated for any of the work she did for the 20 festival. The slight modification that the committee unanimously endorsed is for the sponsor coordinator contract this year. If for any reason, certainly don't plan on this, but if for any reason the 21 festival does not go on as planned, the only change in her contract is $5,000 that she receives as upfront for her proceeds from garnering sponsors. She would keep that $5,000. This year we rolled it over. It's basically starting cash for the festival. However, that's the slight modification that the committee unanimously endorsed. So we just want to make sure we're clear and transparent with that and make sure the council knows. And again, we don't need any official action because other than that slight change, the contracts for all are the same as what we originally talked about.
Very good.
Any questions about that? Okay.
There were some requests for fritters, but I said we have to wait. We have to wait until October.
All right. We're going to have to wait on those. Very good. Okay. Hearing no other questions, let's move on to the sewer committee. Bill, could you bring us up to date?
Madam Chair, just a couple points. So one, again, the plant upgrade, which is the seminal item we deal with. So the expectation is that it's going to be substantially completed by July 30th of this year, or next year, I should say. So that'll be exciting. So hopefully, start keeping that date in mind. So I don't just want to give like percentage updates. So July 30th now is a new date. The second is the South End pump station. That was the pump station that's right near the McDonald's on Marion Waterbury Turnpike. That, if you can see it, I drove by this weekend. That was hit by a vehicle. So it looks like based on our insurance claim, we're going to be made whole, except for our $10,000 deductible, which is unfortunate, but we will substantially be made whole. And then, sorry, my dog's trying to jump on me. And then the other item is, it's interesting, we tabled it. So discharge permits were originally scheduled under DEEP, and they're essentially going to be deferred and left to municipalities. So we tabled the item to kind of get the council's flavor on it about adopting a fee schedule. So, that will be an item about what we should charge applicants. There's some guidance from town staff, but we tabled it. So hopefully in the future, we're going to have more information and a better better recommendation for guidance. That's all I have.
Okay, any questions for Bill? Okay, thank you, everybody. And self-insurance, Tom and Chris Poulos, I guess are both.
Yes, thank you, Madam Chair. Councilman Poulos and I met with the self-insurance group on Wednesday of last week. It was a very, as it has been this entire year, it was another interesting and somewhat complicated of a meeting, but Councilman Poulos did send out a nice summary to the council last week to read. So I will summarize that for us. With 4 months into the fiscal year 2021 cycle, the self-insurance fund is approximately $1.8 million under budget. If you remember, at the end of last year, fiscal year 20, we were $2.4 million under budget. So, those numbers sound great. Obviously, we know why, because it's COVID and people aren't going to the doctors. They're not doing elective surgeries and things like that. So for our December meeting, we were tasked with trying to come up with a budget number for fiscal year 21-22, which, as you can imagine, is more complicated than in years past. So our consultant came with a couple of different recommendations, and the self-insurance committee landed at an appropriate budget number of $25,250,000. So $25.25 million for the town and Board of Ed self-insurance budget. Self-insurance committee then said, okay, we just put in $2.4 million into the reserve last year. This year is looking like there's going to be more dumped into the reserve. So we didn't want to overcharge the employees of the town and the taxpayers. So what we did is we said, the cost this year is going to be $24,250,000. The extra $1 million is going to come from the reserved fund from last year. Now, having said that, we understand that our reserves are a little bit higher than we would want. So we're kind of we're coming out with an idea of a 4-year plan to pull down the reserve balance. Right now, and this is tentative, we're looking at $1 million next year, $750 the year after, $500 the year after, and then $250,000. We're trying to do this so we don't create a massive cliff. If we throw all the reserve in this year and lower the funding level, let's just say $3 or $4 million, we're going to create a massive cliff for the upcoming years. So the entire committee felt that this was an appropriate approach, and we will be revisiting this right up until the Board of Finance sees it, and eventually the town council will vote on it when we do the budget for 21-22. So as usual, more information to come. But are there any questions for Councilman Poulos or myself?
Yes,
Madam
ma'am.
Chair?
Yeah.
Tom, thank you and Chris Poulos for the report. So just a couple, I don't know if it's just an observation or a couple questions. I'm sure this is really difficult to try to figure out for the consultant. So one question I had is if more money is needed from the reserve fund. So let's say like these deferred, if there's going to be a lot of deferred claims because of long-term medical effects of COVID. So if people start to have long-term effects and now they are going to the doctor much more often. So if more money is needed, that can be pulled from the reserve fund without penalty?
Yes, from the self-insurance reserve fund.
The self-insurance, okay.
Yeah. It was an interesting conversation too, because for the last 7 or 8 months, we've been talking about deferred medical things, But now even the consultants started saying, hey, some of these items may not be deferred anymore. They might just be avoided. For example, you're not going to have 2 knee surgeries. If you're putting off 1 knee surgery, you're not just going to go get 2 next year. So some of this stuff has been avoided costs. So we're still, trying to be as conservative as possible. But to answer your question, if the costs do go up, that's why the reserve is there. That's why we're keeping the reserve. Some could argue that the reserve is too high, but we don't want to get overly aggressive knowing just what you said. Maybe the COVID costs will increase or maybe there are more things coming next year. So I think overall we're in a pretty good spot with the self-insurance fund to fall back on if we need to.
Councilman Lombardi, let me just add to that. So Councilwoman DiPaolo, with the deferrals, right? Much of our health insurance is someone has an accident. Okay, so people are staying home. They didn't have those accidents. So that's not going to be deferred. We just prevented the accident because people stayed home. If you have an annual procedure that you have done, okay, and you missed it in 2020 because of the COVID, you're just going to do it in 2021, but it's not a deferred because it's an annual procedure that you have done at the hospital or with your doctor. And so with that in mind, I'm very conservative about, like, you know, I don't want to run out of money in the insurance, but like there's certain things that we're not going to have to make up. And so rather than just have this giant reserve that's outside of our range of what an acceptable reserve is, we thought that we would start now to try to level it out. And then we have this declining use of the reserve, but it's not set in stone. We're going to reevaluate every year and say, maybe too much this year or maybe too little. And so we can get it just right. The more data we have, the better we'll be able to fine tune.
Right. That's what I think would make sense, is that I know you have to come up with some figures, but you'll have more information, you know, each 6 months or year, and then you'll be able to change those figures. Because my concern is that people will now start going to their regular appointments, and there may be some long-term medical effects from COVID if they've had COVID. Mm-hmm. So I give you a lot of credit. It's difficult. Yeah. Absolutely. Thank you.
Any other questions for this committee? Okay, very good. We're moving on to the town manager's report and communications.
Thank you, Madam Chair. The first thing I'd like to do is I'd like to talk about a couple of staff members. John Schmiegel, who was our building official up till today, is no longer going to be with us. I've thanked him personally, but I'll thank him publicly. John Schmiegel has worked for the town for many, many years in probably one of the top 3 most difficult positions to have, which is the building official. You're you do regulations, you have to tell the public sometimes what they don't want to hear for their own safety. John did an excellent job with this. He took over that department, having been the assistant. He did an excellent job, and he chose to move on to another career. So I'd like to say congratulations to John and thank him on behalf of not only the administration and the council, but also the people of the town of Southington who really benefited from having him here. Secondly, I'd like to thank Jeff Pooler. Jeff Pooler was the assistant building official. He is now, as of tomorrow morning, I have offered him the position and he has accepted. He is now going to be the building official for the town of Southington. Jeff has been with us in the role of assistant. Before that, he was in the role of inspector. I feel very confident he's going to do an excellent job, and we're very lucky to have Jeff on board. So congratulations to Jeff, and congratulations to John for a career well done. So I'll be happy to answer any questions if you have any on that. If not, Madam Chair, I'd have you look at the Board of Finance minutes. Let's start, if you want to take a look at, let's start with page 2. Page 2 talks about where we currently stand with our revenue. As of 2 weeks ago, I explained this, that the 2 departments that are really bringing in some revenue, which are helping us out, are the building department and the town clerk fees. Between the 2 of those, they're $350,000 above budget estimates up to this point. That being said, we have some other budget items, which is no great shock, that are underperforming, whether it be investments, et cetera. But overall, we're $136,000 in the positive. So I think we're doing fairly well considering the situation we're currently under. I know that we're all anticipating what's going to happen with the January tax bills, so more to follow on that particular part of it. Some good news in the fact that after several months of waiting, we did start receiving some of the reimbursement funds for the COVID monies that we spent. We received $135,000 from CARES, and we received approximately $40,000 from FEMA, totaling a little over $170,000. That's on page 3. That's for reimbursements for the things that the town did, not only buying the PPEs, but all of you who've been to the town hall and the municipal center understand the actual structural changes we made with our plexiglass and other safety features. That's all for reimbursement for that. I wish I could say we were reimbursed 100%, but I'm happy so far with the reimbursements we have. That's for costs through June 30th. We have another pending one for the cost from June 30th to the next quarter. Okay. Finally, the last item I have is an appropriation. Normally, we don't do appropriations for things like salaries and things like temporary service employees. But in this case, I did an appropriation for the building department. some of you I've had long conversations with on how we can attempt to speed up some of the aspects of the building department. That being said, we brought a part-timer on for a two-month period, and I funded that, and I also funded a little extra money in case we need a part-timer once we get a little farther along into the budget year. So that's what we need the appropriations for. So I'm happy to answer any questions on the Board of Finance minutes.
Anyone have any questions?
Finally, under my report, Madam Chair. Oh, sorry, go ahead.
Oh, sorry. Sorry, Mark, just on page 8, you're talking about the budget, trying to set the budget and everything. Are there, and you've given your department heads January 8th. Are there any departments that you have concerns about?
Well, every department will do the budget based upon the ramifications that I set for them. I've asked them to try to come in at a certain number. There are departments I feel that are going to be asking for personnel, which of course would put it above the number I'm asking for. Those are done on a case-by-case basis. There are some departments who are going to ask for whether it be some sort of asset that's not a capital asset, which has to be put into the budget, and we'll go through those. I'm not concerned about my department heads. They're going to put in a reasonable budget. I'm very positive of that. I am concerned about some of the other off budgets, whether they be, and I heard some good news today, and I told Mr. Lombardi this before, that the self-insurance numbers, I expected an increase in the budget, and I was anticipating that. Based upon their current numbers, it's the same number as last year, so that helps me out a little bit, although the adjustment between the town and the BOE is going to add more money on the town side. So I'm really worried more about revenue than I am about the aspect of the budgets. And by that, Val, I'm concerned about the see what comes in July taxes, but I'm also concerned about where the state revenue is going to be for the town of Southington. So that always concerns me. So all that being said, the department heads will come in on the 8th of January. The 3 departments that report to boards, which are police, fire, and library, will come in shortly after that. And my budget from a expense side will be worked on. From a revenue side, I don't begin that until I get the governor's numbers, and that's usually the second Wednesday of February.
Okay, so that was what I was thinking about, is that you really, for your department heads, it's hard because you don't know the state. You won't know the state revenue for a little bit.
Yeah, the good news about the way our charter works is I have 2 weeks, assuming the governor doesn't ask for an extension of his speech. I have 2 weeks or a week and a half after I get the revenue numbers. So I need to adjust my budget at that time. If the revenue numbers come in less than I expect, then I have to look at areas where I feel that we could, in essence, put it off for another year. If the revenue numbers come in where I expect, then it makes my budgeting a little bit easier.
Okay, great. Thank you.
You're welcome. All right, Madam Chair, with any other questions, I have one more item. I'm happy to say that after, it seems like many years, and I think it is many years, the town of Southington has the ability to purchase the development rights for a large portion of Carabin Farms. I don't have to obviously go through these specifically. It's on your documentation. But the fact of the matter is approximately 48 acres will be restricted for development rights to the town of Southington and to the state of Connecticut. Now, this would not have been possible without Diane and Mike Carabin. Initially, they came to the town, and correct me if I'm wrong, Madam Chair, it's got to be a couple of years ago at least, asking if we would work with them with the Department of Agriculture, State of Connecticut. The former chair of the Open Space Committee and I, as well as Mr. LaValle, went up to the state of Connecticut, and we met with the Department of Agriculture. And that being said, it took a while, but the numbers came in at a number that this council and executive session agreed with, and the state of Connecticut agreed with. So the specifics are: the total cost will be $795,886, which is approximately $16,000 an acre. Approximately 48 acres. The town of Southington, through a previous agreement, subject to this vote tonight, would be responsible for $397,993, which is already funded in the open space account for Carabin Farms. Now, the deed would read that the development rights would be transferred to the state of Connecticut and the town of Southington. Obviously, the Carabins have the right to continue a farm, continue to do development as a farm, and build any ancillary building or uses as a farm. So thank you, Madam Chair. I know that this council and the previous council were very much in favor of this project, and I'm happy to say that tonight it hopefully will come to fruition. So, thank you, Madam Chair.
Excellent. Yes. Chris Palmeri, before we start, I know that Paul Chaplinsky wanted to make a couple of comments too at this point, right, Paul?
Oh, sure. Thank you, Madam Chair. I would just, I would say, just to add on to what Mark has showed us, I'll put this, is this viewable for you?
Yes.
So just to give you a little bit of background for those who are attending the meeting, the property is located here in blue. And as you can see, we have a number of other open space parcels labeled Town of Southington around here. There's a Southington Land Trust to the south of this, and there's a newly acquired piece right here that I think, as of this week, will be closed. So there's a nice wildlife corridor that exists in here, as the town manager mentioned. It's 48 acres. And, this has already gone to planning and zoning. So we are finalizing our end of the process here at council tonight. As reviewed at the planning and zoning meeting, this does tie in nicely when you talk about perceived open space. Our plan of conservation and development on page 27 does talk about perceived open space, specifically with private land and farms as being important strategy to act on in open space preservation. Page 30 in the plan of conservation and development says to be proactive in your purchases. 28 talks about references to farmland as one of the top priorities of open space in our own community. So preserving this farmland as part of our strategy for farm heritage in open space is extremely important. And then the last thing that I'll touch on is page 31 does talk about enhanced preservation tools in the plan of conservation and development for Southington, in that the purchase of development rights for preservation of open space, farmland, or other land is a tool that is available to us to ensure that we are maximizing our potential for preserving land. So I think that, the parcel is a gem in our community. The Carabin family, Diane, I can't say enough about how great they've been through the process, and we should forever be grateful for them approaching us, the past open space committee, and the people before them as well. This has been going on for many years, and I think it's a really nice thing that we're going to finally consummate this here tonight.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you, Madam Chair.
Purchases like this do not happen overnight. As we can see from this particular purchase, it's gone on for years and years and years and years. But throughout all of those years, the different councils, and certainly Chris as chair and myself and others who have been chairs have seen the value of this purchase. Eventually, with hope and vision, we continued to walk with the Carabins in hopes that this would come to pass. So I just want to say congratulations to everybody that served on the council all these years as we walked forward, and that now we see the final purchase, and it's really breathtaking. Chris, I wanted to recognize you, Chris Palmeri. Go ahead.
Yes, thank you. Huge thanks to the Carabin family. As you mentioned, Vicki, they sought the town out to try to follow through. Now, what's a little bit different here is this was more of a state issue than a local town issue. But I'm going to stick with the theme tonight, and I need to acknowledge Dawn Maselli and her leadership with open space. This had sat kind of dormant for quite a number of years. And actually, the Carabins had approached Dave LaValle just because they were waiting for so many years, as you mentioned. So I want to thank Dawn for really taking the bull by the horns and approaching this. She went right to the state with the Department of Agriculture. I also need to acknowledge and thank Speaker Joe Arasimowicz, because between his guidance and Dawn's leadership, we're able to get assistance from the state. In fact, shortly after, I think within a week, Mark, correct me if I'm wrong, but within a week of them receiving the letter, all of a sudden, there was some correspondence from the state with their interest in the property. Am I right with that, Mark?
It's amazing when the Speaker in the House gets involved, how quickly things happen with state departments. Yes. Absolutely.
So with that, the state officially made an offer. At that time, Mark, I also like to thank Dave LaValle because he was present. Dawn Maselli at the meeting, where the state made an offer to the Caribbean. So really, this is a long time coming with a huge and tremendous asset to this town. So it's a celebration for all of us tonight, and just wanted to highlight some of those moments that leading up to tonight.
Yeah, there were a lot of people. I know Mike Riccio was involved at the very beginning, and so many people put their finger on this. And I do agree. We thank Speaker of the House for his intervention too. So, Bill, you had your hand up. Did you want to say something?
Madam Chair, I will defer it to the discussion on the 824 referral.
Oh, okay. Very good.
Thanks.
Anyone else wish to speak on this at all? Well, all right. Well, thank you very much, Mark. It is, we all celebrate it, and it's wonderful. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Madam Chair.
Do you have anything else, Mark?
That's it. Obviously, we have an executive session. There'll be no action outside of executive session.
Very good. Thank you. Town Attorney's report. Jeremy?
Thank you, Madam Chair. First item on my report is what we've just been talking about, the referral of the 824 for Caribbean Farms. I don't think I really could add much more to this except for that you sent it to the Planning and Zoning Department, and they came back with a 7-0 vote to refer this, that it was in line with their plan of conservation and development. So you guys will be taking action on that tonight. Does anybody have questions on that? I know, Bill, you're waiting for that. I may defer back to the town manager on this because I wasn't really involved in this one that much. This was before my time.
Jeremy, I guess that I want to talk about it now, so maybe you can, really this is for the benefit of the public. I love this deal personally. I love how it's 50% subsidized by the state. I know a ton of hard work has gone into it, but the only thing I want the public to understand is that, you're buying development rights under R80 zoning, right? So, and Jeremy, you can probably explain to the public better than I can, but R80 zoning in general, this is for future councils, for future votes, is 2-acre zoning. So what you're doing is you're basically paying, what was it, $16,000 per acre to prevent, half a house. So while I don't object at all, I think this is a great deal. Going forward, and Jeremy, please explain how the zoning works. It just, buying R80 zoning, the public should understand that you're basically taking maybe, half a house per acre off the, not the tax rolls, but, your building density.
Thanks, Bill. Just briefly to explain the difference between the R80 and R40, obviously there's different zoning laws of how many houses you can fit on per zoning. So I think your argument here is maybe the development wouldn't be as dense in an R80 as if we were buying R40. My feeling is, I don't know this, but I just know the Open Space Committee and everybody who worked on this. I think the main objective is to preserve this farmland. And to make sure that we didn't get any kind of development on this farmland. But your point is taken that, R80, you can build, you can't build as many houses on an RA zoning as you could on an R40 or any other smaller zoning.
And Jeremy, I guess that's my point is I don't want a future council or a future negotiation to look back and say, oh, hey, look, we paid X, per acre on this past deal right now. Well, one, it was 50% subsidized by the state. Two, it had a farmland, variable to it. So this deal should not be, comparable to any future negotiation that comes to purchasing R80 open space. And I want the public to understand that because it's an important concept. This is a great deal. Like I said, I'll say it for the third time, I guess, but going forward, this deal should not be a comparable for purchasing R80 zoning, at least in my opinion.
Thank you.
Thank you, Bill. Is there any other questions?
I don't see any. So let's.
All right. Thank you, Madam Chair. We'll go on to our next item. And this is, we have a new contract that we're asking for you to take action on tonight to send to the Planning and Zoning for an 824 referral. And this property is 196 Prospect Street. The seller is Brian Donahue. Just for a little background, he did approach the open space with committee wanting to see if there was any interest by the town in this property. We did come to an agreement after some discussions. The purchase price of this land outright would be for $45,000. It is a parcel of roughly 3.6 acres of land. Just for reference, the location of this property, it backs up to the back of Zayosana School. It is some wetlands in there, but it is property that the Open Space Committee looked at and thought was a nice piece of parcel that they can preserve. Also, the possible uses for the students at Oceana to utilize this property. And briefly, I can say that we came to an agreement with Mr. Donahue at a price that we thought was fair to the town, but also noting that Mr. Donahue is definitely giving this property or selling this property to us under what the town has appraised this for. So I think we're going also with the theme that we really appreciate a lot of the townspeople working with the town and sometimes giving these properties for less than what the market value is or what the town at least has assessed it at. So Mr. Donahue did like the prospect that this property could possibly someday be used by the students of Oceana School. Does anybody have any questions about this?
Not a question. Oh, can you hear me okay?
Yes.
Not a question, just a comment. And Paul, to your point earlier, this also is contiguous to some town property as well as easily accessible. So some of our open space, it's not really accessible for the public to access. And because of its location, as Jeremy mentioned, right to Oceana Elementary School, there's a gate there and it's very easily accessible. There's obviously parking at the school site outside of school grounds. So it really is a nice asset for the town. So just wanted to share that as well.
Good.
Yeah, Madam Chair, if I may.
Go ahead, Paul.
Yeah, Chris, you're exactly right. There's a nice frontage that creates a buffer between the existing residential neighborhood and the school. There's several hundred linear feet of buffer there, which is really good. And I think as the town attorney had mentioned, the Zayosana School currently today has an outdoor activity on the current school property, which is adjacent to this parcel that we're purchasing, where they do outdoor curriculums, and they teach the students about nature, trees, some of the insects and things that are there. There's some water course there, and so this would expand the opportunity for those students and other students in the community, should the other school systems want to use it, to use this nice little habitat to benefit our school age children as well.
Very good. Any other questions on this property? Hearing none. Do you have any updates, Attorney Taylor, or any other space purchases?
Thank you, Madam Chair. Just wanted to give a brief update on what has occurred since our last town council meeting. We successfully closed on the Greenleaf Stable property, which consisted of us buying a 2-acre parcel as well as preserving development rights for the rest of Greenleaf Stable. So just wanted to update everybody to know that that is successfully closed. And tomorrow morning, we will be closing on the 55 Sherry Drive, which is the parcel Councilman Chaplinsky highlighted, which is next to the Carabin property. So that will close tomorrow morning. So I just like to let the public know and the town council know as when you approve things, what really the timeline we try to shoot for to close these things in time so that it's beneficial to the town as well as to the sellers. And that's it, Madam Chair.
Thank you, sir. Paul, I have a question for you. With the closing of these two pieces of property and now with the Carabin property, how many acres have we secured this year for open space? Do you have any idea?
Boy, I'm not keeping the number. I can get that for you next time, but we're closely approaching 100. 48, 48 with the Carabin, 10 with the parcel next to Carabin, 16 with the farm, a small piece next to the trailer, to the train depot. Yeah, so we're getting, we're over 80 so far for the year, and we still have some irons in the fire.
Yeah, thank you so much. I just was trying to get an idea because it seems like every meeting we're talking about open space. It's great. Thank you so much. Okay, let's move on a little bit. We're going to open up public communication. Paul, please help us with this. If you are on the computer, we're going to listen to you first. Please identify yourself. Paul we'll open up the mic, I believe. Paul, you go ahead and take it.
Yeah, Madam Chair, if there's anybody who is attending the meeting today from the public who would like to speak, please go ahead and unmute yourself. If you are on the computer, please go ahead and do so. If you want to type into the chat function and let us know that you are looking to be unmuted and you're having a hard time, let us know. Okay. And Madam Chair, if it's okay, it looks like we do have, well, at least one call-in user. I cannot unmute the call-in users anymore because of the way the WebEx has done this. So if you're a call-in user, you have to press *6 on your telephone. That's *6 to unmute yourself, and you can speak during public communications right now. I know we have one call-in user. If there's any call-in users who would like to speak during public communication, press *6 on your phone to unmute yourself. Okay, Madam Chair, it seems as though no one's looking to speak.
Okay. Let's move on to old business action on the Board of Finance minutes.
I'll make a motion to approve, Madam Chair.
Yes,
I'll second, Madam Chair.
I'm sorry. I saw Chris Palmieri's hand up. I
Go
know
ahead.
you mentioned it at the same time. So Paul and Chris Palmieri, any discussion on this at all? Hearing none, let's move the motion. All those in favor of approving the Board of Finance minutes, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Okay. Any nays? Okay, very well, good. It passes unanimously. Item B, action on referral of the 824 for Carabin Farms.
Motion to approve, Madam Chair.
And I'll second.
Oh, wow, we got a team going here. All right, and so having said that, it's open for discussion. Bill, are you all set? Is there anything else you wanted to talk about on that?
Madam Chair. Oh, sorry, go ahead, Bill.
Madam Chair, I addressed my concerns during the town attorney's report. I'm all set. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Any other discussion on item B? I don't see anybody's hands, so we're going to just move forward. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Madam Chair,
Yes.
does it matter that there's a state grant involved? Do we have to do a roll call vote, or maybe for the town attorney? Does it matter at this point, or?
don't think it matters, but if you would feel more comfortable with us.
Yeah, it's not a state grant, so no, you don't have to do it. This is a shared purchase. It's not a grant to the town of Southington.
Got you. Thank you.
Thank you.
So we're good.
So far, I think it's a unanimous decision to approve. Is that correct? No one's opposing it, adding to it. Okay, very good. It passed unanimously. Action on development rights for Carabin Farms. May I have a motion?
So moved, Madam Chair.
Yes, Val.
I'll second, Madam Chair.
So moved.
And Paul's seconding it. Is there any discussion on the matter of development rights for Carabin Farms? Yes, Paul?
Madam Chair, I just wanted to just reiterate again, thanks to the Carabin family. What a great story this is. And I think it's going to be a story told for many years to come that our community will enjoy. So thank you to the family.
Absolutely. Let's move the motion. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
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 I think everybody's signified that. I don't believe there's any dissenting votes at all. So hearing none, we pass that unanimously. Thank you. Now, action D on the 824 for 196 Prospect Street. I received some information. Chris, you're going to recuse yourself on this.
Madam Chair, I need to recuse myself on this vote. I'm going to step away from my screen while you vote.
Thank you so much. May I have a motion on this, on item D, please?
I'll make a motion.
Motion to approve, Madam Chair.
I'm sorry, who said
Second.
that? Who made
Second
the
it.
motion? Oh, Mike Del Santo, I believe, and Chris, you seconded it, I think. I'm just trying to get the screens right. Is that correct? Mike and Chris. Okay,
That's fine,
thank you.
Madam Chair.
Yes?
Yep.
All those in
Madam Chair.
keep hearing
Aye.
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 all those in favor signify by saying aye.
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 All those, any opposing votes? I hear none, so this also passes unanimously with one abstention. Somebody tell Chris Poulos to come back.
I'm back.
Oh, good. New business, the tax refunds?
Madam Chair, I will make a motion that we approve the tax refunds that are outlined in our packet.
Second, Madam Chair, it's Bill.
Bill seconded it. Thank you very much. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Any opposed? I hear none. All right, so that passes unanimously as well. Appointments coming up. The Regional Health District appointment. Do I have a
Madam
Motion to
Chair,
table that, Madam
I make a
Chair.
motion to table.
Okay, is there a second?
Second.
Well, it's actually Paul and Mike Del Santo. So we have that. All those in favor for tabling?
Aye.
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 Anyone not in favor of tabling this? Okay, it's unanimous. That passes. A motion to have a Conservation Commission alternate that I believe is your
Madam-
appointment. Is that correct?
Madam Chair, you are correct. That's my appointment. I hereby appoint Michael Kazansky to a term expiring April 2021 as an alternate to the Conservation Commission.
Okay, thank you very much. Item 4, the Senior Citizens Commission is also up. I'm looking for a table on that.
Ethics is first, Madam Chair.
You skipped one there, Madam Chair.
Please forgive me on that. Our ethics
Unethical.
members, yes, do I have somebody making a motion on this?
Madam Chair, I'll make a motion to appoint Joe Pugliese for the ethics position.
Okay, do I have a second?
I'll second Joe Puglisi.
It is a Republican seat, so. Those in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Any opposed? Puglisi. Okay, very good. It carries unanimously. I'm sorry, now the Senior Citizen Commission, we just learned of this, and so I'm looking really for a table on this.
So
if it's
moved.
All right with everybody.
Madam Chair.
Paul, did you just say you tabled it?
Second.
Mark, you have your hand up.
Yes, Madam Chair. I've worked with Cliff Snow many times at Calendar House. He was instrumental as input during the construction process. And I know, Madam Chair, you knew him also, and he'll be deeply missed. Our sympathies to Cliff Snow's family.
Yes, thank you, Mark. Thank you. So we are moving forward with a vote to table. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Any opposition to the table? Thank you very much. Item 5, I want to just mention a couple of things. As everyone knows, Alex Riccadone is our assistant town attorney, and what you might not have known is that Alex also serves in our U.S. military in the JAG Corps, and he's been called up for service. And so we are in the process right now tonight in appointing an interim assistant town attorney. And so I would like to have somebody make that motion for me.
Madam Chair,
Yes, Tom?
I would put forth the name of Attorney Paul Bedard for the interim assistant town attorney for the term of starting right away through approximately July when Attorney Riccadone returns.
I'll second, Madam Chair.
Attorney Bedard is well known amongst us all and for the public. He served as the assistant town attorney from 2017 to 2019, and he has served the town very well in his capacity as a lawyer.
And I would just add, as the chair, I have great confidence in Paul Bedard. And so I certainly appreciate Paul and echo your sentiment, Tom. Are there any other questions or any other statements anybody wants to make on this?
I would also just like to wish Attorney Riccadone well wishes and thank him for his service to our country.
Thank you so much. Hearing no other further comments, I'm going to move the motion. All those in
Can I just
favor
ask
for
one
Paul
point?
Bedard
Can I make
for
one point, Madam Chair?
assistant town attorney?
Oh.
Madam Chair, can I make one point before we vote?
Yes, of course. Go ahead.
So it's a technical point, but so my understanding is that, so really we're appointing an interim attorney to be effective in the short future. Whenever the current serving assistant town attorney is back, and my understanding is that the term would end. So if it was in 3 months for whatever reason, or if it was in 9 months, the term's going to end when the assistant town attorney is available. Is that correct? Is that everyone's understanding?
I would say this, Bill. If Attorney Bedard is working on a case, as he is doing right now, he is representing us in a number of cases. He will continue to represent us, but the term of interim assistant town attorney would be back to Alex Riccadone. So
you could have three. You could have your interim assistant and your assistant working concurrently. My only concern is that for whatever reason something happens, the assistant town attorney comes back in 3 months, and we talked about a July date. I just want to make sure everyone's on the same page and they understand
yes.
that.
When Alex Riccadone's service requirement is completed and he comes back, he will be the assistant town attorney again. And Paul, if he has cases open or whatever and he needs to complete that work, we of course will allow him to do that. That's the only practical thing to do. Mark, would you agree on all of that?
Yeah, I just was going to recommend that you would put down that for a term of as long as the assistant town attorney is on active duty. And you did that in your motion, which is fine. And absolutely, we've had a long tradition in this town going back probably 30 or 40 years that once an attorney starts a case and that assistant town attorney is replaced by a counsel, you continue on with that. It's managed by the town attorney's office and my office. So absolutely. And I'm very comfortable with Attorney Bedard handling town work.
Very good.
Right.
All right. So let's move the motion. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Is there anyone with a problem with Attorney Bedard? I see none. I see it as a unanimous approval. I want to just also wish Attorney Riccadone Godspeed and protection and come home safely, and also thank Attorney Bedard for his continued service to Southington. So having said that, that's it. So we're looking for a motion to go into executive session, barring the
So
press and
moved.
public, but we are going to invite Michelle Semino. You've been very patient all night, Michelle. Thank you for being with us, and the town manager. And so all those in favor of going into executive session, I'm not sure, Paul, I have the link. So would you just send it to me for the executive?
Sure.
Aye.
Okay.
Aye.
Okay, any opposed? We'll see you on the other side. Thank you. Thank you, Paul.
Yeah, bye-bye.